back, everybody. We are here for Losers Finals. Got Odyssey Ares going against Fable Soul. Oh, they're already in. We're live. Let's go. Let's get it. Pillow, I'm back on. Starting soon.
Fortunately, Eris getting picked there early.
Oh snap, we are so back. Let's go. Now I got bit. Alright, picking it up where we left off. First fight going to the way of Odyssey Ares. Missed that first one entirely, but Pancake didn't even tell me. It's all good. You see Chi already pressuring the point, just trying to get some, get them to kind of rotate back off. When you're running the Malga, I think positioning is going to be super important in this fight. You can see Fable eagerly just trying to, find a target that they can kind of capitalize and speed onto. It's going to be super important to kind of capitalize on your speed boost, and Space already doing a great start by getting rid of Oni. And now no more trades are going to be a lot harder to get around movement, but a double boop off the map by Eris is going to mean wonders for Fable as they flip the point back over to their favor. A team kill, all thanks to the GM Lucio player of Eris.
Going into that fight, Eris was 30% behind Daedalus on B, and now they're above just because of that double boot kill. A little insane.
Yeah, I wanted to point it out because Eris is a nuisance on any of the sports they play. Had Baby Yeru approaching with Shatter, ready to look for an opening. You see Kitsune Rush going to be matched up in the center stage. Kind of crazy, we're not even going to try to do it onto the point, but you can see Odyssey already stacking the bodies as they speak. Eris getting to pick onto Daedalus, but it's going to be a little bit of an ask when you only have access to the Reinhardt and Lucio. Not a whole lot of damage. I know Lucio just got a damage buff, but it's not enough to supplement for missing 2 DPS on your team.
Fortunately, Odyssey Ares just had the better Kitsune. Not much you can do about that. Space was an early pick.
Yeah, Space already starting off hot again. And that's been consistent. And you see, again, Chi just being a nuisance. Almost solo capping the point on themselves. You can see everybody scrambling to the point. And I've already talked about it earlier about positioning being super important for the Malga style comps. And you can see Fable actually capitalizing on their misposition and just capping the point right back. I mean, it's still 74% for Odyssey, so luckily they've got pretty much just a one-fight scenario they can kind of, solidify it. But look at the ultimates on the side of Fable; they are looking hot.
Yeah, and being on a team with Baba Yedu, I know he can hit some fat shatters. Hopefully, it'll be able to equalize this fight.
Okay, so we're aiming for a pulse bomb. Pulse bomb is going to come out from Chi. Not going to find any connection on it yet, but we are still baiting out some crucial moves too. We'll be looking for the beats on either side. Dixie gets rid of Space, so now no more initial picks, and with no pulse bomb, he's going to be able to ask to get it out with the shatter from Bobby. He has already called out the end. One pick, looking for more, not getting dangerously low, and you know what? You're stuck in here with me instead. Gonna cleave down the opposition. Dixie able to actually survive the cage fight himself despite being so low. Gets a few picks himself, but it doesn't matter because the people on Fable are gonna be able to help clean up the rest of the people. The rest of the bodies, opposition not gonna matter. She gets rid of 2, but reverts, gets 2 of themselves. Ryan has to rush back to the point. They are going to trigger overtime, but now it's just a 1v2. A big DP Reinhardt shield versus a solo Lucio has to beat just to try to stay alive as long as he can. Not going to be able to make much presence beyond that. Bobby Yedu just chasing down every last target, getting a boot back, but narrowly getting back onto the stage and pinning the Lucio off the map. Luckily, he's got access to some, mobility to get back on. Kitsune Rush on point, able to flip it back over, hopefully. And Dixie, I mean, again, just has to make sure he has to anchor on down onto point from here on out. Because now, if they lose this next fight, that will be it for this first point.
Yeah, and even with Daedalus missing the beat on their hit scan, Dixie was able to get back in time, save the point there.
Yeah, able to recapitalize, able to stabilize and get back into the fight. It's gonna be super important. She has access to another pulse bomb. Maybe trying to line it up, forced to recall kind of early. Oni also putting a lot of pressure on him. Able to get triggered to overtime, but Kitsune Rush on point. This is going to be big. No close on connection. Space gets one, but so does Reverts. It's even, and Stevens on the point. Eris not able to get the pick. Winds up falling, but the Baba Yeto's still alive on point. Looking for the Tracer, not able to find him yet. And Daedalus winds up just helping clean up the last few bodies. So close to a shatter, but not going to be able to come up clutch this time. And this first point going to the way of Odyssey, a 99 to 100 close first objective.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Dixie went down early due to try to take that off angle with the flank charge, but it looks like or Fable just wasn't able to stabilize well. Ends up dying 94 to beat and 96 to shatter. They play a little bit slower there. You could have think they might have been able to win that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They got a little greedy, right? You see a couple bodies on there, you start licking your chops a bit. You try to go, clean up the last few stragglers, but then you wind up putting yourself in a really precarious position. So hopefully they can kind of turn things around. It was still a very close map, but you can see Baba Yeto decides no more Reinhardt. We're gonna go to the way and degenerate Malga. So Malga mirror match for the second point here. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was talking to Mebin about Amalgamir today, so let's see how he's ended up playing this.
You see Chi making the swap over to Reaper. I'm kind of surprised. I guess they're kind of just trying to emphasize some damage on some Amalga, just trying to shrink them down. Reaper taking a significant nerf in this past patch as well. You see Baba Yeto just trying to put some more pressure onto Dixie. I mean, getting super low himself, but still managing to get the pick all off the backs of Eris. I mean, not only getting the shots down himself, but also getting the environmental kill. Another environmental. I think that makes it 4 or 5 now for Eris. This dude has been on a tear, and he's still hunting down for more.
Yeah, and they're just really able to capitalize off the fact that they can't really cross this bridge very easily on this comp. They have no shield, really no form of CC reduction. Really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough ask, but it's one of those things. That's the risk you run with running this Malga comp, right? Because you don't have a whole lot of damage mitigation on your side of the field, so you have to just play in hopes for picks. And you've got a pretty good DPS lineup of, I was just about to say Oni and Reverts, but Eris again just being a DPS himself, just finding the first initial pick. Now it's putting things in a standstill. They're stuck in white room here. Chi getting super low, forced to use Fade super early on, but it doesn't matter with the Kitsune Rush helping to assist and clean up the rest of the fight. That's going to be a wrap for Odyssey's attempt. We're already at 50% here, Pancake. It's looking a little bleak for them.
Yeah, you might have think that Oni is thinking of swapping off the Tracer here, because against this Reaper, Malga just has an advantage of dueling the tank that with the Tracer they just don't have.
Yeah, there's no way to try to out-damage him. There's no way to stop the anti-down. So it's going to be all up to the Malgas to try to get some initial picks. And early cage fight retaliated by Baba Yeto as well as a beat. Space actually winds up going down. Baba Yeto's able to clean up Dixie. And now Oni 1 versus a million. Not going to be able to survive this engagement. And that's going to be another fight win for Fable. And that's going to be, I don't want to call it too early, Pancake, but this is going to be really hard to get back onto point, especially with the lack of ultimate. We got beat, but we're running out of time.
If they're able to tap with beat, they also have OC here. They can maybe get something done.
No
way! Kill.
No way! We put it
again.
Off the map, Pancake. I mean, it wasn't even an elimination. That was completely shutting it down. Probably Ajaxed them off the map, so not even able to get the beat off for anybody. I mean, the last time they tried to beat, it was a solo beat, but they were still successful. This time, Eris shuts it down entirely, not letting him even get it off. And because of that, I mean, that was a big fight for them. They could have easily gotten onto point, had triggered overtime, and you never know how things could have went. But now they shut it completely down, takes us to a final point. And now I'm kind of questioning the same thing, Pancake. Is Oni going to make that change over to Reaper, or are we going to stay on the Tracer?
Capture the objective.
They do make the swap over Reaper. Having a mirror comp for the first time this series.
Okay. I know ball better than you know ball, so let's see who can run it better. Hit the courts, hit the hardwood, and you can see already, I mean, they're eager to get back into this fight. Abigetto again just playing top of confidence. I mean, this is no ordinary ride for him, man. He's just been going straight for the jugular, and you know what? It's working because, again, Dixie going down a single-digit HP and winds up going down to 0. And just like that, she, again, just going still crazy, straight to the back line, just getting everybody also, like you see, everybody's super critical on the side of Odyssey that they can't even engage. They have to just sit back and just wait for them now to get back into the fight. And that first point going to the way of Fable again.
Yeah, and you can see Space going down early there, but maybe that drew some attention away from that Valga for them not to get care.
Abigetto starting off the pick, and he's looking for more. He's still hungry. He's got 2 hearts and apparently 2 stomachs. And G, again, getting rid of their Reaper counterpart, and everybody also low again on Odyssey. And this Malga mirror match comp is just going dreadfully for Odyssey.
Breaking them down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've played a lot with Mevin on Malga. I would call it his second best tank, or Babietu's second best tank. So, who knows? Maybe Dixie's gonna have to make a key swap here to win this point.
Matching the Kitsune Rush, I mean, just going stopping straight on him. Daedalus winds up falling, so no beat accessible for either team, but it doesn't matter. The picks are just stacking up. I mean, you may get a consolation prize for getting rid of space, but I mean, you can see your entire team is still dead around you. Kitsune's matched up in that room. And that's the fear I have with trying to use early Kitsune in that position. You can maybe win that fight, but you're still struggling to cap that point. And now we're at a position where we don't have the Kitsune to actually engage onto the actual objective, and we're at 75%.
Well, no, I think it was El Goop that popped the Kitsune, forcing them to match, but here comes the cage fight.
For Death Blossom in there, a late beat and a late Death Blossom from Odie, be able to turn things around. A quick team kill just in the nick of time for Odyssey. I mean, just shy of, oh yeah, I was gonna say they're just shy of 90%. They hit 90%, but I mean, now we've got ultimate stacked up. Eris still has beat, and now Space with the overclock. This is a win condition for them now.
Exactly. If they're able to force OC out of space or out of rev early, they can scale with beat and try to engage on the Carrier Lu.
This overclock finally being committed. Gets rid of Reavers. Reavers trying to pop his overclock, not going to work out. And again, Eris just the cherry on top, giving the a beat just to make sure nobody winds up falling. And that's going to wrap it up for map number 1. Fable Soul again, just eventually making the swap over to the match to mirror comp and just looking completely dominant here.
They do tap though.
They get the overtime touch, but I mean, with no ultimates in their name, it's going to be very hard to try to win that point, and they're not going to even make it past the door beyond that. Yeah, both supports making the swap over to get that desperation touch, but it's not going to matter. Fable Soul, again, what a 180 turnaround on map number 1.
Play of the game.
Just an amazing, honestly, I would say a backline diff. Eris with almost like 6 boot kills that map. It's just honestly insane what they're putting up on this board.
Yeah, you can see right there the 4 environmental kills from Eris. Definitely one of those key differences in the fight. I know, supports don't get a whole lot of limelight when it comes to the matches themselves, but when you're playing like that and your name is Eris, you for some reason get all the glory and all the praise.
They don't call it Lige Gon Tower anymore. They call it Eris Tower. Let's get it.
Yeah, I would know about the Lige Gon Tower considering my wardrobe for tonight, but yeah, big shout outs to Fable. They are looking, again, that Reinhardt comp was not bad either. That's what's really surprising. That you mentioned that Babieto's second best tank would be the Malga, because that Reinhardt was still looking pretty menacing in his own regard, and still able to match the team comp entirely and look better.
Yeah, it's just when I know Dixie has a very good Ramatra, and if they could start to capitalize on that, maybe they could get something done. But Malga, if they're able to win the Malga mirror, I know that Dixie's Ram is not really able to do anything against the Malga either, so maybe you do go like Sigma to match, possibly?
Yeah, it really does depend on the actual map selection as well. In case you guys don't know, the map playoffs do have their own specific map rules. We start off on control and work our way downwards. Next up, we're going to have hybrid here, and we have a choice between Midtown, Hollywood, and Neon Junction.
Maybe they want to go to the new map? Maybe they want to stick with the day one Hollywood. Who knows?
I would hope that they go to Neon Junction because, I mean, if you're telling me that Dixie's hero pool typically revolves around the Ramatra, the Sigma, and stuff like that, you want a map that doesn't have a whole lot of verticality. I guess Midtown wouldn't be a bad option either. It really just does depend on if teams actually scrimmed on this new map. Again, the newest addition to Overwatch has been Neon Junction, so been pretty well received. What do you think of the map?
As a main support player in this meta, I am very forced to play and hit the Mizuki button, which does make me a little sad, but I think the actual map design is very good on point 1 and point 2, but that point 3 can be a bit tough to cap. It's very defender sided.
Yeah, hopefully they don't pick the Neon Junction. Production just let me know, it's like, hey, map is so new, we don't even have it added into the actual the scene yet. So, but in all seriousness, I think the map itself, you know, I flex around, so I've been playing around a little bit. Neon Junction, as long as my team isn't getting ran over by the train every other fight, I feel like it's a really great addition, both aesthetically and just the balance of the map itself. Unless you hit point 3, it's either you get full held or you just get steamrolled. There's like no in between. So.
Yeah, I have had scrims where we have 5 minutes going into last point and we get full held. It's just, it really changes the game from a very horizontal aspect to, you could just put your hit scans on the high ground near spawn and they're really untouchable if you're still running that horizontal gameplay that Neon Junction is usually known for.
Of course. And yeah, unfortunately, I was correct. They are going to go with the Neon Junction. Again, ignore the scrims row. That is not a map selection in tonight's playoffs or any of the playoffs for that matter. They are going to go with Neon Junction. We're already loading straight into the next map. And you can see the bands selected at the top. You would think that the Ramatra is going to be played, but oh yeah, that was band map 1, right? I forget.
I know Onron was sort of the bounce. I'm not sure about the Ramatra.
Okay, yeah, okay, I was gonna say, I thought that was bands number 1, so Ramatra back onto the field here. However, Malga is not. Malga and May kind of an interesting band, considering I didn't see it at all during that first map or I expect it. However, could be in the cards, could be on the table. Maybe somebody's a pocket character and they just want to make sure they're not dealing with any type of traditional brawl style where you kind of wall off a target and just kind of mow them down.
Yeah, and especially with the Reinhardt, you would think that the Mei would be really tough, but also really good for the Reinhardt, because it's very with Reinhardt you can wall off those choke points, but if Reinhardt gets walled, it is very hard for him to sustain through that with no type of vertical movement.
Right. And so, I mean, essentially, I think it's just a matter of just trying to cripple the side of Fable as best as you can. So, let's see if they can make it back, tie things up. As we go into map number 2, Neon Junction. Again, first time we've seen it tonight. I don't know about the other playoffs matches, but I've heard that it's been kind of a hectic show in our bracket.
Yeah, Daedalus going down early to the hands of Eris. A good wave or a good bubble from them.
Interesting. And they're gonna run the Zarya here. And I guess it's because they swapped Dixie out. Lobsters who can be coming in maybe primarily what we know as a secondary tank, right? No, Zarya typically hasn't been the primary tank for a long time, but I mean, as of lately, I mean, even in the OWCS, we've been seeing a little bit more playtime. Again, Lobster full charge, but 0 HP, so not gonna be able to survive the interaction. I don't know, Immortality Field just came out maybe they're late or just hit the robot statue. But unfortunately, Lobster's gonna go back to respawn, hit the reset button, and again, another fight wins for Fable. Seeing them making the approach again. Lobster already utilizing both bubbles, full charge, which is not bad, but it's one of those things like how do you enter in? I mean, without having a traditional flanker, it's gonna be a lot harder to make their team kind of spread out, turn around. They're matching the Xions, but the Xions again just not the greatest flanker in comparison to like Tracer and Reaper and of course Genji. Can't play too long in the back end without getting chopped up. Slowing down at the choke, and you get both the supports kind of low off, and even Babayetto getting low himself. Maybe looking to shatter here. He's got access to it if he needs to, but not able to survive the interaction. Window does come up from Elgoose, but I mean, too little too late. Your Ryan's already gone, so now it's up to the DPS to kind of turn things around. With Lobster on the field at full charge, gonna be hard to do unless you get another pick. She using the bike to run over their opposition, and Elgoose gets rid of the Zarya, so now a much winnable position, and Babayetto gets back in time. Reverse gets 2 picks, but I mean, is it too late? Kyle getting another pick as well, getting rid of G. And now it's a 2v1, but the Reinhardt just sitting there holding up shield the entire time. He doesn't have to do anything risky unless he just lays down the hammer, lays down the shatter, gets the 2, but then Immortality Field comes out in the nick of time. Kyle Blast expended here, knocks Lobster on his back. But I mean, really have enough to turn it around. Window use as well from Daedalus. It's a little wonky on the angle, but it's still getting the job done. Still getting the pressure onto it, but you don't have a way to get rid of this Reinhardt, and that's how you do it. A railgun shot to the back of the head, through the window, and Kyle helping clean up the fight as well. That should be first point. It got a little dicey, came down to the wire, but I think Fable got it. Or, I'm sorry, Odyssey is down. Again, a great start for Fable. They were able to get him down to at least a minute, which is not bad at all. Lobster was looking pretty solid. I mean, normally you see Zarya's kind of struggle without having that traditional character that you can use as a batterer, right? He's one of the players that you send in as your traditional flanker. They have to shoot him, they have to acknowledge them at some point, and then you get a bubble on top of that. But again, been still sitting at a pretty consistent, I think 90% charge for most of this game, not having a traditional flanker. Satsuriki's free for Oni, so I would love to see it here, but I mean, she actually utilizes his first, gets rid of Daedalus. They did have access to the Immortality Field, but immediately chunked down. Reavers gets rid of Babayetto, and now I think we're going to start seeing some more payload progress. Slowly chugging along. And she gets rid of Reverts, but again, she is stuck in a really bad position, but he's able to get out in time. Again, payload still slowly moving along. Babayetto does get back, and we're seeing another potential shatter for him. And there it is, lays it down, gets 2 big shatters again. And Daedalus, man, he's been having a tough time. Every single shatter I feel like has been going on to at least him or Kyle. Just one of the supports have been catching the absolute nuclear bombs from Babayetto. Yeah, Pancake, you're 100% muted, in case you don't know. Pancake's like, man, why is this leapfrog guy talking over to me all the time? So hopefully Pancake will get back in here in a minute, be able to hear them again. But again, Lobster having access to a Graviton Surge. I wonder if we're going to try to pressure this high ground. Don't get ran over by the train, but please, I beg you. I've had some PTSD seeing all my team get completely obliterated. Oh, I think I got Pancake back. Let's go. Oh gosh, Satsuriki's spree is huge! Off the grab. They do get to equalizing picks, but Babayetto's super low. Lobster is well low. Train comes in, so it's cutting off their team, but it doesn't matter. Babayetto already got the picks that they needed. Team kill going in favor of Fable, and that's big because now there are only a minute left and not a lot of ultimates left on the side of Odyssey.
Unfortunately, my Xbox thought I was talking, but apparently I wasn't. But Eris had a great flank there. Really getting a lot of damage there. Lobster on the hog now.
I mean, that's the way you deal with the flanker. I mean, maybe Chu was giving them such a hard time that they weren't able to get anything going. Reverts as well, getting the pick with the overclock, putting Ryan in a really uncomfortable position. You can see Eris sprinting for the hills, not trying to waste his title blast. I think just going to try to save it for a rainy day. And luckily, they will have another opportunity to contest the point.
Yeah, and this is where, if you could hold it at second here, you guarantee that you don't have to go through that dreaded third point on attack. But if you don't hold it, it gets really dicey for the side of Fable Soul. But it's 4 ults to 2. It's coming out. OC dead. Both hits get traded. She dead. Fat Shatter coming out with the window. Beat to match. Fable Soul slowly losing numbers, but Nevin or Baba Yedu is still on the point doing work.
Hey, now I needed myself. I got excited too. Baba
Getting the
Yedu.
pick onto Lucio.
Oh my gosh, that's a Riki spree! Gets the pick onto Kyle, but Oni trading, get an equalizer. Tracer 1v1 on the point in space, able to get the pick, but now it's just another 1v1 again. Him versus Reverts for this objective 1.2 meters. And he gets the perfectly timed immortality field to save him there. And my bad, Pancake, I was pretending to be you for a second. I muted myself up and I just got
You
so
are
amped.
all good. You are all good. So unfortunately, even with the scrap that happened on the field, the team with 5 ults compared to 2 did end up winning the fight. So it all works out. And
Ooh-wee.
Fable Soul is able to hold on without going into third, which is very good to set up their attack.
It's a great opportunity, a great win condition for Fable. Because I mean, again, you've already hinted to it, Pancake. Again, that third point is atrocious to try to deal with. You either get steamrolled or you just full hold them at the spawn door. Don't even take that risk. Don't take that chance, and you just stop them just shy of it. I mean, you see 0.46 meters. I mean, so close to be able to cap it. But again, I already talked about it. You know, not running the traditional flanker on this map is kind of surprising, but Space made the swap over to the Tracer at the last possible moment, and it was just enough to help contest that point. Because again, without Space being there, they would have not had another opportunity to contest. So big ups to Space to kind of hold it down. She as well making some moves on the Xion. You don't typically see a whole lot of Xion, but I mean, again, they've been making her look nice.
Exactly my
Yeah, and
point.
you're talking all about the space touch, but what an immort from LU to keep Space alive for them to win that point. And there's an opening pick from Space rolling out of the Widow. What a pick!
Yeah, there's no switcherino here needed. We're just going to get the pick right off the rip and start it off. Lobster still sticking with the Roadhog. I'm really surprised we're going to stick with that because I feel like you're going to struggle a little bit. I mean, especially with dealing with how much pressure and how much damage they've been pumping out tonight. I mean, granted, you don't have to deal with the Malga, but you still have to worry about the 2 big snipers they have to focus on. Again, Reinhardt versus Roadhog. It's going to be a tough ask, but Kyle does help with the first pick off on this fight. Making things equal up just a little bit, but now it's just a matter of getting rid of the last few targets on the field.
Yeah, but I would not underestimate the Lobster Roadhog. I lost my playoff run to that Roadhog player, and let me tell you, it is not fun to play against. He is very good on that Roadhog.
Yeah, we've seen him just go on the prowl a couple different times throughout their last attacking attempt. And again, Baba Yedo falls to the Roadhog, making a double. This dude's still hungry for more. It's a big fella. You already know he's got that big back energy.
Yeah. And it's a little insane. He's just able to catch these almost zombie walking attackers with Baba Yetu swapping over to the Zarya, which is very, very surprising.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things like you can just bubble somebody like that. I was gonna say that I was already talking about how difficult it is to play with Zarya without having a battery. And this is a great start. The knockdown from the Tidal Blast able to kind of capitalize and kill Daedalus. And again, Daedalus on the receiving end of another ultimate. Just so unfortunate for him. Reaver's trying to turn things around. No tank to the name, but they still have Kitsune Rush on the point. They're looking for more bodies. Not gonna be able to find it. Yeah, just the evasion from Wu Yang too much for them to handle. and Oni just a solo body left on point, and guess what? Daedalus comes back, not going to fall to an ultimate, but still going to fall nonetheless. Lobster come in, just trying to get a last second pick before they rush back to their spawns, and that's going to be the first point going to the way of Fable. But Odyssey, seriously though, still looking pretty good on defense, giving him a chance.
Yeah, Odyssey Ares looking pretty good on defense, and maybe the hog pick can lead them to victory and is able to hold. Because if you zombie walk too much in front of this hog, then you will get picked out early, and a 4v5 is not fun to play. Although, it is only one ult on the board for the side of Odyssey Ares. Well, they have Window and Ben, and a late grab coming here.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple ultimates to our name. Siege Train is cutting off their team again, making the high ground a little bit harder to deal with. But again, you got a great power position from El Goose. I mean, this window is going to be super powerful, especially with, again, the lack of damage mitigation on the side of Odyssey makes it way harder to stay engaged in this fight. I mean, the amount of damage you can pump out both with the Zarya full charge, the Freya just pumping arrows into your backside, and now you have access to a window on top of that. Again, it's an impossible task. And the grab comes out. It's a perfectly timed Suzu, but it's not enough support to keep them alive. And seriously, they need a wipe right now because now they're facing another loss here in the second map.
Yeah, and a great grab for Baba Yetu to help Chi get two picks. And now they're going into final fight with 3 ults to 1. The Venom coming out. Not getting any picks. Window out.
Yeah, Window's out on the field, so now it's going to be even harder to stay alive on this point. Daedalus not able to get a whole lot of value from his beat, and now again the Roadhog back onto a point, and maybe going to have access to a whole hog at the last possible moment, but I mean it's too late. Your entire team is dead. No supports to your name. Tidal Blast for good measure. Again, another cherry on top for their team. And Fable Soul able to take a 2-0 lead in our series. And again, it's only first to 3 pancakes, so this is it for Odyssey. They need to lock in right now, otherwise they face elimination.
It is really scary if you're Odyssey Ares here. You have been really putting in work the Annihilation playoffs and all your scrims and all other tournaments you're in. And it all comes down to this. Are they able to reverse sweep? Last game they were able to fend off a reverse sweep, but now they're in the same position as their opponents, where are you able to pull your mental back together and pull out the scraps to win this game?
Yeah, it's super. I mean, the reverse sweeps always begin with a single game, so I try to get, if I'm in this position, you gotta just tell your team, like, listen guys, those first 2 games, don't even worry about it. Goldfish memory, we gotta lock in right now because you can't win 3 without winning 1. So you gotta make sure you get that first game on the board. Let's lock in for this 3rd game. We put everything out on the table. If we win, we get a chance. If we lose, it's already over anyway. So at that point, let's just go ham, try to make it happen. You never know what could turn around.
Yeah, and if Fable Soul are able to win here, then that is going to end up being a back-to-back for Baba Yetu in the Annihilation tournaments. But if Odyssey Ares are able to win here, they had a great run last season in the playoffs, but just fell short. And if I do believe that was a different roster. So they rebuilt that team, and now they're in the driver's seat to either secure the third place or have a shot at the ring.
Yeah, and again, winner moves on to facing grand finals. So again, there's a lot riding on the line for these teams. It's more than just like a qualification match. This is it. This is a do or die situation. You lose, your team is over for the season. We're coming down to the penultimate match. And it all comes down to this, a potential 3-0 in favor of Fable if they just get this next win. And now, we're coming down to one final map, and I believe that final map draft is going to be on Push. They got a choice between Runasapi, New Queen Street, or Caliseo.
Ooh, now all of these maps are pretty dive heavy, but both these teams are very brawl focused. I would maybe be inclined of seeing the Hazard or the Sigma out of Baba Yetu, or maybe Zarya to enable like a Reaper on the side of Ares, but they do end up picking Runa Safi here, which is a very good Malga map. So maybe we see that Malgamir like we saw on map 1.
Yeah, now the question is, like, I would expect that too. Like, I think they're just gonna run the Malga, not gonna leave everything up to chance, just keep playing as a team, play coordinated. Which character do you try to ban here? Because I'm thinking, honestly, if I'm Fable, I'm just trying to get rid of this Sojourn, right? I just don't want players like Reverts to try to make any type of comeback for their team, just shut it down. You can also utilize banning the Tracer, just to make sure that your team is not going to get flanked consistently throughout the map, because that Tracer was also a great addition to the side of Odyssey. But again, it's all completely up in the air. It's always dependent on what the opposing team bans first to kind of go off of that. So we'll find out what the bans will be momentarily. And Christian,
yeah.
Too, buddy.
And I would have thought that Ares would want to be the one to ban Sojourn, because Space has been really dominant this series, but it looks like Ares ends up banning the Wuyang, because Ares has just been a threat all the game. And then Fable Soul end up doing the Cassidy ban to match, trying to shut down Space as best as possible. So you assume he will just run Soj here, right?
You said who banned Wuyang?
Fable Soul did, or no, Odyssey Ares did to shut down Ares.
I mean, okay. I mean, listen, I'm on the mic for a reason. I'm not some champion level player. I hit GM maybe once in an open queue situation, but I mean, Ares is primarily a Lucio player, so I'm just confused. We're gonna try to get rid of the Wuyang here. He's got plenty of characters under his belt as well. I mean, if you haven't seen his Alari is also a really strong character for him. Just anything with any type of damage and mobility just makes him salivate for whatever reason. That dude, you can try to isolate with a single character like the Wuyang, but he's just gonna go to something else and you know, and still thrive. So I would rather try to ban a character that's going to help your either like your DPS or your tank to kind of thrive. Maybe they just saw a lot of threat in that Tidal Blast, and maybe that just the damage output itself from Ares was threatening. But you know, again, they still have an opportunity here. I'm not going to count them out.
Yeah, but Ares has been a threat all series so far. With the Lucio on the map 1 getting 4 environmental picks, including the 2 on map point 1 to win that, and then the tap denying boop on map 2, and then really good positioning and flanks from Ares on that second map. So I understand banning the Wuyang if it was a Wuyang focused map. Now, I do believe they would have played Lucio anyways here, especially because Baba Yetu loves playing Reinhardt. And Reinhardt does need that speed a lot more than other characters. But we will see here, and we do have a swap to Jorge on that Genji.
Okay, I like to see it. I'm a Genji main at heart, so hopefully we can see some crazy blades, but it's going to be all off the backs of the supports. You can see Griffin coming in for Odyssey, so hopefully a change of supports, maybe give him some second chance at life. Lobster on the Junker Queen. Let's see if they can start the reverse sweep off right. There's going to be a clean sweep for Fable. Let's go. Oh my gosh. and Dadian is transferring his unlucky Lucio energy off onto Griffin, because Griffin's still getting picked first, and it doesn't matter, the main support on the side of Odyssey is getting completely focused and obliterated from Fable.
Yeah, and I've been on a team with Griffin twice, both not for long, but both of the times he was on hitscan and I was on main support. And you know, main supports tend to be a very unlucky role, so let's see how he's able to handle this, especially with the unlucky first pick.
Again, it's one of those things you try not to think about it too much, but you gotta make sure you keep it on the back of your mind. Lobster Lobster, again, just getting put a lot of pressure onto the backline. Genji, Jorge is getting kind of low, as well as Babayetto. And again, they don't have the sustain on the traditional brawl style comp. When you run the Lucio and Kiriko, you better hope you get enough healing with that amp, because other than that, you're not going to be able to survive much longer. Space wind up getting a pick on the way out, but it doesn't matter. They finally got the picks they needed. They stopped the push bot from progressing any further, and guess what? No checkpoint.
Yeah, with that Lucio carry, it's not all about carrying that Reinhardt. It's about taking the angles around the Reinhardt, able to really be able to enable him by playing around him rather than playing for him. So we will see whether they are able to take those angles with their backline easier on this blue carry.
Look how much pressure they're pushing onto the tank, and you see even the Genji is catching some of the splash damage, falling down to single-digit HP again, but luckily able to make it out in time. And you can see them lining up a shatter, so you know Babayetto's gonna lay down the hammer, lays it down, doesn't get anything off it, forced to just pin backwards just to survive, but he's not stuck too much longer. Shell will form himself as he winds up falling. Jorge popping the blade to try to turn things around, but he winds up falling, and they lose the lead anyways, and they wind up using the overclock, so even if they get this picks, and they maybe win this fight, they still are working on the deficit, and Reaver's popping his own overclock, but winds up falling. El Goot getting the 2 picks, no more DPS on the side of Odyssey, and that was their win condition for sure. A clutch moment for El Goot to be able to turn that fight around. They were looking to take that checkpoint and completely flabbergasted.
Yeah, and if I'm not wrong, Goot also killed the Junker Queen, so they had 3, maybe even 4 or 5 picks in that fight. Really clutching that up for Fable Soul there.
They get the lead back in their favor. They get the checkpoint. It'll be even bigger of a lead. They stop it just shy. Kitsune Rush matches on point. Griffin falling super low, not able to get the beat off in time. Yeah, getting down too low of HP. Didn't want to risk getting Ajaxed, and smartly enough holds it on to it for another fight. Another team kill for Fable. They get this checkpoint, so now they're going to start making some real progress towards the lead.
Yeah, and Eris and Griffin both having beat here. This could come down if Oni is able to build pulse for late fight. That could be the deciding ult. Although if Lobster is able to get an early knife, El Goot is getting pressured early, getting the cooldowns forced down. Griffin B comes down. Let's see if Eris matches, and they do. Babayetto goes low, and they're just gonna go ahead and hide out here.
Yeah, I would say they have to just back up and just hope to survive this engagement. Not going to be able to survive for too much longer. Pulse bomb in addition, just to make sure we seal the deal. Jorge not going to last much longer either. A quick little wipe for their team. They only get about 13 meters beyond the checkpoint, which doesn't sound like a lot, but again, any little bit of progress beyond the checkpoint is huge, because you see how long those butt scratch opportunities take.
Yeah, and what's going to be important about this fight is Lobster and his surrounding team needs to force out that Suzu before they are able to pop that JQ ult. And if they are not able to get that JQ ult off, you just lose Malga Cage to match. Jorge going low.
Yeah, you see, I was gonna say, you saw him just catch the last bit of that axe. Babayetto winds up falling as well. As long as Lobster stays alive, it's gonna be big. Yeah! Carnage straight to the backline. No Suzu in sight, so not gonna be able to survive for too much longer. Space falling super low. Oh, almost gets pooped off the map. Ares still looking for environmentals on a map that you don't typically see environmental kills, and almost wind up getting the first environmental pick I've seen on this map in ages. So luckily able to survive the boot for the time being, but still winds up falling. Not going to be able to take the lead back into their favor. And again, we still got some ultimates to play with on Fable. I would imagine this Cage and Blade are going to be kind of comboed up right now.
You're right, just as you say that, the Cage and Blade comes out. Jorge with 2, Jorge with 3, Jorge with 4, able to get 4 with the Blade.
And now we just
No,
keep
they were
extending
calling
that lead.
Elemental guy Mexican proper with the name Jorge. You gotta think he's Mexican proper too, you think?
I thought this was a sub in from Overwatch World Cup, so big shout out to my boy Jorge, able to get the 4K, and now we're just keep on extending. Hopefully we're going to try to get you for triple digits. Reaver popping the overclock. This time not going to get shut down by Juice too quickly, but still getting a lot of pressure on him. And Jorge, again, still maintaining that pressure. 2 more picks to the Genji player, and just now we're just going to hit that triple digit mark. And this is a steamroll now. We've got so much of a lead. They still have to get the checkpoint, and they're going to have to win 4 or 5 consecutive fights to be able to turn things around. It is looking bleak for Odyssey. Playoffs hopes are relying on this one final map. They need to win this here. They got 3 minutes, but do they have an opportunity to actually win a fight?
Yeah, Griffin able to charge up that beat. Face pops the OC. Griffin beats the match. So does Ares. They're not able to get the picks. Revex goes down. Baba Yetu goes in. Kills Kyle as well. Oni down. Lobster holding on to straps. And they are 2 seconds away from capping the point and securing their spot in Grand Final. Is Ares able to touch? Oni goes for the touch. The cat goes for the touch. Killed by El Goot, and they are not able to touch. And Fable Soul moves on to Grand Finals.
Man, a dominant performance. It was so close in that first map, but like a snowball effect. I mean, they just took control and never let go. All these bans meaningless to them as they make the adjustments. First time we're seeing Genji tonight, and it was just lighting up the kill feed. This man Jorge just been perfectly in tandem with Baba Yetu. And again, Baba Yetu is playing amazing on the tank. Just every tank that they play, just always finding opportunities to give their team an opening. And just finding pick after pick. I mean, what a set. I mean, I know it was a 3-0, but it was still a great match from both of our competitors.
Yeah, with the tank flex DPS combo of Fable Soul, you're almost seeing shades of Hyperion with Mevin and Venom, the winners of last season's Grand Finals. And who knows, maybe Mevin will be, or Baba Yetu will be able to go for that back-to-back. And I'm rooting for him here.
It's definitely possible. I'm not going to put it past anybody. Definitely gotta put your cards on the table here. And Fable Soul did exactly that. So they wind up taking the series in a 3-0 fashion. And now they get their rematch from Winners Finals. They wind up losing to I Folded 3-1 in that Winners Finals. But now they have a second chance at life here in the tournament. It all comes down to that one big Grand Finals match between Fable Soul and I Folded.
Yeah, and I was talking to Baba Yetu earlier today. He seems to have pretty high spirits about the game. They were able to beat I Folded in the regular season, but not able to pull it off when it counted in the playoffs. If I'm correct on that. But
more than likely, but they got a chance. What you got, Hank?
I see Baba Yetu pulling it out. I know the dude. He's almost a married man in a couple of months, and I think he's gonna have that in stride here to hopefully be able to go back to back.
I'm rooting for him as well. We'll have to see and find out. But that's going to wrap it up here for tonight. Again, an unfortunate end to Odyssey series today. Still, got to keep your head held up high. A podium finish for them, 3rd place out of a completely stacked tournament. I know that a lot of the teams there have been super ambitious, super hungry for a win tonight. And you know what? Tonight's going to barely go in favor of Fable Soul because they've got one more chance at redemption to try to defeat their opposition of I Folded in that Grand Finals. I believe there's, Chow will let you know what time that's going to be. So that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight. Pancake, you got any plans for the weekend?
Selling some cards, selling some baseball cards, hopefully.
I could have guessed that based on your profile picture, so that makes sense.
There's one Juan Soto card I can never sell, though. You know, there's always that one.
I get you, man. Well, yeah, I'll be casting a couple different games. I believe I have an Overwatch or a Tekken stream I'll be commentating for tomorrow, and then Sunday I'll have a Valorant collegiate match I'll be taking care of. So if you want to follow me, go follow me on @LemonsterLeapfrog on Twitter. And and then that way I keep you up to date on all the times I'm casting, including tonight. I know tonight was last minute, but guess what? I still let people know. I'll still tell you where I'm going and when I'm going to show up. So with that being said, thanks everybody for tuning in. Congrats again to Fable Soul. We'll see them in grand finals next time. So have a good night.
Y'all.